Good morning, I'm Gretchen Hall. We're coming to you on this third day of July. It is a Thursday, bringing you Morning Matters. Because your mornings matter, let's get to the stories that matter today. Alias Totoy, a key suspect in the case of the missing sabungeros, has come out publicly to name names, including businessman and gaming industry tycoon Atong Ang. Ang's camp, however, denies all allegations, and they will file charges of extortion, attempted robbery, and attempted homicide. Don't forget your umbrellas today, as two weather systems are currently affecting the Philippines. A low-pressure area off Cagayan is impacting northern Luzon, while the southwest monsoon or habagat is causing rains over Manila and other areas. And new Philippine Sports Commission Chairman John Patrick Gregorio, who took his oath on Wednesday, will join us live here on Morning Matters. Tune in as he discusses potential changes and improvements at the PSC. Welcome to our program, Morning Matters, where we talk about the issues you need to know for the rest of your day. Now, first on the agenda, alias Totoy, a key suspect in the disappearances of sabungeros in 2021, has come out publicly, and he is naming names. One of those, businessman and gaming industry tycoon Atong Ang, who vehemently denies all allegations. The details in this report.
Alias Totoy, now identified as Julie Dondon Patidongan, has come forward in public. Patidongan, one of the accused in the case involving 34 missing sabungeros, earlier claimed the victims' bodies were dumped in Taal Lake. He named three alleged masterminds behind the 2021 disappearances: the game master of the World Pitmasters Cup, a known engineer of the WPC, and WPC owner Charlie Atong Ang. He claims he once worked closely with Ang, serving as head of security at the Manila Arena and managing his farms. Patidongan said Ang panicked after learning he was the key to it all. He alleges Ang offered him $500 million pesos to withdraw his statements.
Mr. Atong Ang, magpakatotoo ka naman. Huwag mo naman ako gawing sinungaling. Pinaliktad mo ang lahat. Kinabahan na yan dahil alam niya na ako ang susi ng lahat at siya ang may kagagawa ng lahat.
He also mentioned a female celebrity close to Ang, saying she knew all his secrets.
Kasama yan sila lagi. Alam lahat ng sekreto ni Mr. Atong Ang.
But Ang's camp denies the claims. In an exclusive interview with News 5, his lawyer, Attorney Lorna Capunan, accused Patidongan of trying to extort 300 million pesos from Ang in exchange for silence. They plan to file charges of extortion, attempted robbery, and attempted homicide.
Sabi nga nila, bakit wala pang ini-issue na affidavit? Ang totoo dyan, wala pa siyang ini-issue na affidavit pointing to these alleged perpetrators because umiikot siya. Cheryl, umiikot siya and extorting money from those who he says or he threatens to name. Mm-hmm. That is why Sir Atong Ang is coming forward in his attempt to bring out the truth.
Paano nangyari yung extortion? Nagkita ba sila? Nag-usap ba sila?
We have evidence. We will show in due course, no, in the case that we are going to file, the exchange of evidence, the exchange of text to attest, to affirm the extortions.
Patidongan, however, challenged Ang's camp to present their evidence.
Handa kong harapin dahil kilalang-kilala ko yan. Magaling gumawa ng kwento yan. Ilabas niya ang ebidensya kung totoong nag-extort ako sa kanya at ano ang kanyang basihan.
Despite the controversy, some relatives of missing cockfighters stand by Patidongan's claims.
Nung bandang mga nawawala pa, siyempre nag-grupo-grupo kami. Siyempre nag-uusap, meron po kami naririnig na ito ay right hand ng mastermind, ito po ay ganito, ganyan. So, nung lumutang, parang hindi na rin kami nagtaka.
Before his public statements, NAPOLCOM Vice Chair Victor Calinisan told One News's Morning Matters that they were still waiting for Patidongan's affidavit. The commission is investigating Patidongan's claims that several police officers were involved in the case.
Without the complete affidavit of Totoy, it's going to be an uphill climb. I think this is his way of seeking justice, not just for himself, but also to seek justice for those who have been victimized by this crime. I can't speak for him, pero ano yan eh, syempre ipit-ipit na sila eh. Ito na yung pagkakataon siguro na mabago niya ang history at he be on the right side of the things.
Malacanang has since said President Bongbong Marcos ordered a deeper probe into the case.
The Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, or BFAR, assured the public that tawilis from Taal Lake is safe to eat. BFAR said the fish feed only on plant-based plankton and are unlikely to consume anything harmful. Now, this follows a whistleblower's claim that the bodies of missing sabungeros were dumped in the lake in 2021. Local sellers reported lower sales due to public fears, but stressed that the fish sold in markets are clean and responsibly raised. Senator Risa Ontiveros filed cyber libel complaints with the NBI on Wednesday, urging a probe into a viral video where former Senate witness Michael Murillo accused her of coercion. Here is the report.
Senator Risa Hontiveros has filed cyber libel complaints against Michael Murillo, a former witness in a Senate probe on detained preacher Apollo Kibuloy after he accused her of bribery and coercion. The complaint filed with the NBI on July 2 follows a viral video where Murillo, also known as alias Rene, claimed he was paid 1 million pesos to testify against Kibuloy and was pressured to implicate former President Rodrigo Duterte and Vice President Sara Duterte. Hontiveros denied the accusations, saying she welcomes criticism, but not what she calls dangerous lies targeting not just her, but also her staff, witnesses, and even the Senate. She's also asking the NBI to investigate the uploader identified as Pagtanggol Valiente and others involved in spreading the video.
Yung nirereklamo kong pinaiimbestigang fake news channel nagngangalang Pagtanggol Valiente. Bagong-bago po yan. Binuo lamang nung June 24, the day after nung mga huling mensahe ni Michael Murillo. So, hiniling ko sa NBI ngayon alamin sino ba yung Pagtanggol Valiente na yan, sinong mga tao, sinong grupo.
Hontiveros added that it was Murillo who first sought help from her office, claiming to be a victim of Kibuloy's church, and even reporting threats days before the video surfaced.
The Senate says the earliest possible oath-taking of new senator judges for the impeachment court is July 29 to avoid legal challenges. Now, during a press conference, Senate impeachment court spokesperson attorney Reggie Tongol said Senate President Chis Escudero wants to avoid questions on his authority as presiding officer. This comes after lawmakers, including Senator Risa Ontiveros, urged Escudero to already conduct the oath-taking of incoming senator judges. The upper chamber also maintains that the required certifications from the House are legitimate steps to uphold the constitutional process.
These certification procedures should not be seen as traps or measures to impede, but these certification processes help prevent any legal impediment or challenges or technicalities that could undermine the impeachment process once it starts rolling, and to uphold the proceedings' integrity.
Meanwhile, mamamayang Liberal Party listed incoming House Prosecutor Laila De Lima accused the Senate of overstepping its role and delaying the trial with unnecessary demands. In a statement, De Lima argued that the House has fulfilled its mandate by transmitting the articles of impeachment, and the Senate should now do its part. Don't go away. We'll be back with more stories right after a quick break. Welcome back. You're still with us here on Morning Matters. The Bureau of Immigration hailed a Manila court ruling on Alice Go's Chinese nationality as a win for the national government. Commissioner Joel Anthony Viado said the decision affirms findings of immigration records and biometrics that Go and Chinese national Guo Huaping are the same person. He added the ruling strengthens the BI's legal basis for deportation and supports efforts to protect the country's borders and institutions from foreign infiltration. In a related development, PAGCOR will grant the BI 50 million pesos to support the deportation of POGO workers. The BI received the first tranche of 25 million pesos on Monday to cover plane tickets for detainees at its facility in Taguig. And to talk more about these latest developments, we have on the show BI spokesperson Dana Sandoval. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Matters.
Good morning, Gretchen.
Okay, una-una, no, how significant is this Manila court ruling on Alice Go's nationality for the Bureau of Immigration?
Well, this is very, very significant because we see this as another win for the Philippine government. It really proves that Alice Guo, former Mayor Alice Guo, is indeed a Chinese national, and it further strengthens the deportation case that is filed against her. But it doesn't mean that despite this, we are going to immediately deport her. We have to wait for the resolution of her other local cases. I believe she still is facing a lot of local cases here in the Philippines. We have to wait for the resolution of that before we implement her deportation.
So maaaring magtagal bago siya ma-deport. In short, kailangan meron mo ng desisyon yung korte doon sa mga kasong yon.
Definitely. Yes,
Okay.
because she has still a lot of local cases to face here. And if the court say that she has to face prison time, we would have to wait for her to finish those sentences before we deport her.
Okay, other things that are part of that decision, apart from ruling that Alice Go and Guo Huaping are the same person, is that the court also voided her mayoralty, and but her past transactions have been concluded as done in good faith. As far as the BI is concerned, you are only your jurisdiction extends to her deportation. Is that correct?
Yes, just her deportation as a foreign national. We do not have jurisdiction about her actions here in the Philippines, but this all forms part of the case that was filed against her.
Okay. I guess the bigger question here is what have the realizations been for the Bureau of Immigration as to how Alice Guo Huaping and Alice Go, the same person, was able to get a late registration, certificate of late registration, and also her Philippine citizenship. Ano po yung mga nalusutan po niya at ano po yung hinihigpitan po natin ngayon sa BI?
Yes, alam mo, Gretchen, we have been raising this for a long time already, and I think the case of Alice Guo really highlights the need to look into how foreign nationals are able to get Philippine documents. These are different documents from different government agencies that she was able to procure to be able to end up as a mayor of an area in the Philippines. There are a lot of other foreign nationals that have been doing the same thing. Recently we arrested 4 Chinese nationals with the same story. They were able to secure Philippine documents. They are presenting themselves as a Filipino. And we believe that this is a national security issue because they are already using our identity, Philippine documents, to embed themselves in our society.
Okay. The Philippine documents of the 4 Chinese nationals you mentioned, they were authentic and certified as true?
Authentic. They were fraudulently obtained, but all documents that were presented were authentic. Yun yung mahirap doon, Gretchen, because the thing is, if they are already Filipino, nawawala sila sa purview of Philippine immigration because they are already, people see them as Filipino citizens already. But I think it's very important to have a holistic approach here because different government agencies, I guess, would have to tighten the way that certain documents are being issued. Particularly siguro the one that is very, very significant is the late registration of individuals for them to be able to get birth certificates.
Okay. Yung documents po na meron nito mga Chinese national, ano pong documents yon?
Iba-iba. Most of them would see birth certificates, you would see passports, also driver's licenses, state ID. There was one who even had a common registration document. So very, very scary because they were able to get so many different documents that are authentic and they're not fake, they're authentic.
Okay. To be able to crack down on these illegal staying foreigners, dito po ba kayo tumitingin sa late registration? Are you zeroing in on that?
I think that's one of the important ones because the birth certificate is what they call the mother document, the source of all the other documents that an individual can get. So with the birth certificate, once they have that, we can get different IDs now. So it's very important to siguro tighten the screening of that. And we have forwarded the information of the foreign nationals that we have caught to the Department of Justice and to the NBI para ma-investigate na ito. I think this is also the subject of investigations of our legislators because there really is a need to tighten policy with regards to these documents.
How porous is this late registration? I guess saan po yung mga saan po nakikita niyo po yung pagluwag nangyayari?
Madami. There are different areas where this happened and they are able to get it in different parts of the Philippines. There are certain areas in Mindanao that have higher numbers of those who get late registration despite not being eligible for that. And then they are able to get the different IDs and documents from those birth certificates.
Kasi tama ho ba na sa barangay certification, yun lang po ang kailangan to be able to prove your identity and that you live there or you were born there? Ganun po ba?
I'm not privy lang to the process of getting the birth certificate, but I know it starts with the local civil registry would have to register with the NCR. So siguro there needs to be tightening there because you only need to go talk to one person to be able to get so many documents already.
Okay. You mentioned Mindanao. When you talk about the number of late registrants, are these mainly or purely Chinese nationals? Are you also seeing other nationalities taking this route?
We've seen other nationalities getting birth certificates and passports already. Hindi sa limited, it's not limited to Chinese nationals.
What other nationalities are you seeing?
We've seen in the past, although very, very rare, but we've seen Taiwanese nationals, we've seen some Arab, so different nationalities really, but mostly Chinese nationals have been getting these type of documents.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I guess, as you mentioned, it has been an issue of national security, and that's why there is need to look into these processes. But taking a look at the deportations now that is being done by the Bureau of Immigration when it comes to the POGO, what are the updates on that, and how will the 50 million PAGCOR grant help the BI?
Yeah, so far we've deported, I think, more than 1,000 already since the beginning of the year. Lots more are set to be deported. Our facilities are admittedly very cramped already because there have been mass arrests of BI together with PAO and BI and PNP. So some of the detainees are with BI, some of them are with PAOK and NBI and PNP. So we're expecting more deportations in the next few months. And this assistance given by PAGCOR would really help us expedite the deportation by being able to use it to book their chartered flights, outbound chartered flights, because there still remains a number who are unable to secure their outbound tickets, who have allegedly no capacity to provide their outbound tickets despite being assisted by their embassy. So it will definitely be a big help to decongest our facilities to be able to add more space for future arrests.
Okay, how many are still remaining in the facility now, awaiting deportation?
Iba-iba from different facilities, but more or less maybe 1,000, maybe 800 to 1,000.
So more than 1,000 have been deported and still another 1,000 across the different facilities. Okay.
Yes.
Before you mentioned also having some difficulty over the legal documents of these POGO workers. Yung iba wala silang passport kaya hindi ma-verify at hindi ma-deport. Kamusta naman po yung progress doon?
Very helpful yung embassy po natin. Embassy provided support in issuing travel documents. Mabilis na ngayon as compared to the past. We understand that because of the sheer number, there are delays on their end in the issuance of their travel documents. But constant communication naman tayo with them for us to explore ways to be able to expedite the process.
Sa ngayon ho, gaano kabilis po yung turnover nitong mga POGO workers? Gaano katagal sila usually nagsistay sa facility before they are deported out of the country?
Ang fastest deportation namin was done, I think, in 3 weeks. We were able to deport a batch of foreign nationals. That was the fastest. Siguro, more or less, they would take a few, maybe a month or so after the arrest for them to be able to be deported because of the documents, mostly because of the documents that we would have to display.
Medyo matagal-tagal ho yun. Ibig sabihin, yung kanilang pagkain, pati yung kung ano man yung miscellaneous expenses, the BI is the one shouldering all of that. Is that correct?
The food, ang BI, there's a budget for that. Even PAOK, so we have a budget for that. But of course, it's not just limited to food. Meron niyang expenses in the electricity, in the water, in yung logistics itself. Very hard to secure these numbers of foreign nationals. At saka, as reported by PAOK, there are already wards in their care that are getting sick. So I think that's also a problem that we have to face and we have to address. That's why we're really trying to expedite the deportation of these individuals.
O paano ho pagka ganon? Nagpapapunta na lang ho kayo ng mga doktor dyan sa facility and kayo rin po ang sumasalo po ng expenses na yun?
Usually it's the individual naman that shoulders the expenses for that or their embassy. But I can speak for our facility. We have a doctor and medical staff on standby talaga inside the facility. And if there needs to be hospitalization, they are given naman opportunity to go to the hospital if needed.
Ma'am, I'm taking a look at the videos of the POGO workers in the facility and tama ho ba na nakaposas po sila?
In our facility, hindi po. But when they are supposed to be deported, pag palabas pa sila na bansa, to prevent them from running away, doon po sila tinatapos.
Pero hindi, may case po ba filed against them?
For POGO workers, mostly wala pong local cases filed against them. Except for those na nakita po ng local law enforcement agencies natin na possible na mga leader or they are considered as the traffickers of the other foreign nationals.
Yeah, kung wala pong kaso, is this allowed? I mean, na may posas po sila?
Ang process po nilalagay natin pagka they are being transported already, but not inside the facility. Yung aming facility po inside Camp Bagong Diwa is not a jail, so it's more open, wala pong mga rehas, and it's a holding facility for them prior to deportation. But they are not hindi sila nakaposa during their stay there.
Okay, how many POGO workers are still at large that you're running after?
Madami pa because the total number is around 33,000 before the deadline. Ito yung lahat ng POGO workers. Two-thirds of that, around 22,000, were able to leave already by the year end in 2024, before 2024 ended. So that's out of the picture already. We had a total of around 11,000 plus that we were expecting to arrest because they are the ones who were left for the Philippines. So far, more or less, I think we've arrested almost 2,000, 1,000 plus to 2,000 foreign nationals together with our counterparts.
Okay. Paano niyo sila hinahabol? Because Mr. Viado said na hindi pa nga tapos yung problema sa POGO because of the crimes that have been happening. Saan niyo po sila hinahanap? Dito po ba sa mga yung dati pa rin po na mga smaller operations? How are you looking for their traces?
Yes. Wala na sila doon sa mga big facilities nila because itong mga POGO dati malalaki yung facilities nila in the thousands. Ngayon, they have smaller operations inside condominiums, inside gated subdivisions. So that's what we're looking into. Meron tayong intelligence people on the ground. Meron tayong mga sinusundan na leads from those who were arrested. Kasi despite them being, kumbaga, broken into several smaller groups, meron pa rin yan na parang bigger mother group that is controlling them. The thing is about these online gaming activities, napakahirap kasi since online nga siya, kahit sa moving car, pwede na nang gawin. Kaya there's difficulty in really locating them. But so far, we've been successful in arresting and locating these groups. And tingin natin marami pang mga smaller breakaway groups na kailangan pa natin husto.
Okay, final question ho, ma'am. There are reports that the Chinese nationals have been able to access back into their e-wallet accounts. Would you know more about that? And nakakabalik ba sila para kunin yung kanilang mga cellphone? Who is in possession of those phones?
It's not within the possession of CI, probably with one of the law enforcement agencies na kasama namin sa raid. Because here, it's not under our jurisdiction. Ang capacity lang namin is the foreign national himself. Yun lang po yung kaya natin. So ito siguro this could be checked by other local law enforcement agents.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much for those updates on our situation now with POGO workers. We have BI spokesperson Dana Sandoval joining us on Morning Matters today. Meanwhile, the Court of Appeals has denied Cassandra Ong's petition to dismiss her indictment over qualified human trafficking charges. The court ruled that Ong failed to exhaust available legal remedies, such as filing a motion for reconsideration before seeking relief. Ong claimed due process violations and cited public statements by Justice Secretary Boying Remulla to justify her petition. But the court said these did not excuse her from following procedural requirements under DOJ rules. A warrant of arrest has already been issued against Ong and dozens of others linked to the raided POGO hub Lucky South 99. Stay tuned. Morning Matters will be back after a quick break. Good morning, I'm Gretchen Ho, and here at Morning Matters, we talk about the most pressing issues and give you the context behind the headlines. Patrick Gregorio took his oath as the new chairman of the Philippine Sports Commission on Wednesday. Gregorio replaces Richard Bachman, who served in the role since December 2022. Gregorio previously led the Philippine Rowing Association and has held key positions in Philippine basketball as well as the private sector. And joining us this morning is the newly appointed PSC chairman himself. Welcome to Morning Matters.
Thank you. Good morning, Gretch. Thank you for inviting me.
How do we say this? Congratulations.
Yeah, okay. Congratulations.
Okay.
Maraming salamat.
First of all, tell us about when did you learn about this appointment, and what was your reaction when the news reached you?
You know, I started yesterday. I took my office yesterday in Malacanang, and a few days ago, I mean, late last week, I found out because they talked to me. They invited me to go to Malacanang, and they told me that we need your help. The president needs your help. So how can you say no to the president of the Republic of the Philippines? So yeah, here I am. I started already. So I'm excited. I'm happy. We just have to help the Philippine Sports Commission and the national athletes.
What was the mandate of the president? Because your name has been going around for the past months. It has been mentioned. It has been floated around. I mean, why the change? I guess why the change in leadership? Ano yung gusto ng presidente when it comes to
ang gusto ng presidente,
improvements?
Ang gusto ng presidente, sigurado ko gusto rin ng mamamayang Pilipino, alagaan yung atleta. Yun ang pinaka-importante, yung kapakanan ng mga atleta. Hindi na didelay yung sweldo. Wala silang ibang distraction kung di mag-training. At happy sila sa ginagawa nilang training. At gandahan yung facilities. You know? How can they train well if you have lousy facilities? And malaking bagay yung commitment ni Presidente Marcos at ni First Lady Liza. I'm sure you saw in the news that 2 weeks ago, si First Lady visited the PhilSports Arena to check the dormitories, to check the dining hall facilities. And I went there yesterday at nakita ko, sinisimula na. Nandun na yung mga construction workers.
Oo, bakit nga ba bumisita doon si First Lady?
Because maraming ang reports na yung mga atleta ay namumroblema sa kanilang food, namumroblema sa kanilang allowances, namumroblema sa kanilang dormitories. So I think that was a surprise visit. And I inspected that yesterday together with the staff of PSC and the commissioners. And nakita ko, wow, sabi ko, ito na, sinisimula na. And then expect great improvements.
Ito po yung nasa PhilSports Arena.
PhilSports
yung
Arena.
Ultra.
That's correct. You know, there's a facility in Baguio, there's a facility, of course, in Rizal, there's a facility in Ultra. And I was told there's an office in Cebu. So lahat yan pupuntahan natin. So yesterday, of course, Rizal, na-inspect na natin. Kahapon, PhilSports. Tomorrow, I'll go to Baguio and check the dormitory and talk to the athletes there.
Actually, I've been long training there. I mean, before, when I was an athlete.
Yes, of course.
Umakit-akit kami dyan sa bleachers yan, ng Ultra eh. Nakikita namin yung mga national athletes, talagang nandun sila, yung mga tahanan nga nila. And matagal na ring problema sa mga national athletes, yung delay ng sweldo. I mean, it's long been there. Sa ngayon, I mean, I know that only certain qualified athletes receive allowance. What amendments are you looking to doing on that end? I mean, sino-sino lamang yung entitled ba talaga?
Okay.
Doon sa support na yun from
Okay,
Philippine
let
government?
me explain that. Ang nangyayari kasi ngayon is that yung national athlete mo na binibigay na listahan ng National Sports Association ay nakakatanggap ng sweldo sa Philippine Sports Commission allowance for their training. Pero depende yan sa level na reach mo sa competitions. So, ang pinakamalaking allowance dyan na natatanggap ng isang atleta ay kung nanalo ka ng medalya sa Olympics at kung nanalo ka ng medalya sa World Championships. Pababa ng pababa,
So
Olympian.
merit-based allowance.
Merit-based allowance.
Pero hindi po ba, doesn't it defeat the purpose of actually preparing well for competition when in the first place, kung wala ka pang experience, ay wala kang suporta? Paano yun?
Yeah. Meron naman, pero syempre iba yung suporta nung naging medalist na.
Totoo.
So ang importante rito, ma-review natin na hindi ma-delay kasi ang nangyayari, pumapasok ang kanilang sweldo sa isang ATM at doon nila kinukuha sa ATM na yon. Pero ang daming proseso na puro manual pa. So ang importante ngayon, nandiyan na yung mga biometrics, nandiyan na yung mga yung digitalization, gawin na natin na ilagay mo lang yung, hindi na natin papahirapan at hindi na natin papatagalin yung proseso. Because yung atleta yan, kilala naman natin yan kung sino sila, hindi ba? So yung proseso na mag-fill up ka pa ng daily time card, hihintayin pa, i-check pa isa-isa manual, we'll do away with that. We'll do away with it. And we will coordinate with DICT, we'll coordinate with the other agencies para matapos na ito at mabilis ng matatanggap ng mga atleta ang allowances nila. Hindi naman mahirap gawin yun.
Pero pagka national athlete ka, makakatanggap ka ng allowance or not all pa rin?
Lahat ng national
Lahat
athletes
meron.
na nasa listahan ng National Sports Association ay nakakatanggap.
Gaano katagal yung delay na yun? I mean, before you stepped in?
Hindi, may mga ano yan. Meaning it's not, kung baga ba tayo sa private sector noon, tayo nakakatanggap ng every 15 days or every 30 days, may nadidelay because of the manual
They would have to go to the office and do all
manual,
of that.
they have to sign. Pag na-delay sa processing ng opisina nila, tapos na-delay sa processing ng PSC, na-delay na lahat. So, hindi na pwedeng, meaning for a very simple matter, administrative matter, hindi na pwede yun. Digital na lang lahat.
Okay. You've had extensive experience in Philippine sports. You were executive director of the Basketball Association of the Philippines, now SBP, chairman of the PBA board, secretary general of ABAP Boxing, president of Philippine Rowing currently. And of course, you were involved in the revival of the Tour of Luzon. So as a sports person with all of these, with all of this experience, what was your assessment of the lay of the land before you accepted the post? Siyempre, bago mo tanggapin yung trabaho, tingnan mo muna, di ba?
Yes. Ang ano yan I became NSA official of 3 Olympic sports, basketball, boxing, and rowing. And nakita ko talaga na merong pwedeng i-improve. Ang importante lang, yung relationship between the Philippine Olympic Committee, the National Sports Association, kung ano yung sport mo, and the Philippine Sports Commission. Ang nakita ko sa the first 2 days ko sa PSC, mukhang kulang lang yung mga taong dapat mag-process. There are 82 NSAs. You have hundreds of athletes. So, kung mag-average ka lang ng 20 to 30 per NSA, times 82, ganun karami ang atleta natin. National athletes, wala pa yung grassroots. So, ang importante rito is that meron ba tayong special group, okay, or task force, NSA, sa PSC, na walang gagawin yan, kundi araw-araw, i-memorize ko yung pangalan ng atleta, i-memorize ko yung pangangailangan ng atleta. Yan ang mga gagawin nating tweaking, Gretchen, so that mas madali ang pakikitungo nila sa atin. Meaning, hindi pwedeng pumupunta sila sa Rizal at nahihirapan. Kung pwede nga, wag na pupunta sa Rizal. Mag-training na sila. They should stay in their training quarters.
And what would be the composition of that task force? Because you spoke about nutrition, alam natin napakahalaga din yan, no? Pero alam din natin mga national athletes natin, madalas kumakain yung pansit canton, gabundok ng kanin, kung ano lang maiuulam nila. Ganun ang usual na diet eh.
Yeah.
So ano yung composition ng team na yan, ng task force na yan?
Alam mo yung task force na yan, yan natin mo, yung delay ng sweldo nila, yung tinitirahan nila, yung kapakanan nila, including their families, including their parents. Diba? Yun yung sinasabi ko nga, Gretchen. You know, you tell an athlete laban para sa bayan, pero distracted siya kasi may problema yung pamilya niya, may problema yung mga magulang niya, may problema yung mga kapatid niya. Yun yung task force na yun. Gusto ko yung task force na yan sa PSC is the NSA or the Athletes Task Force na walang gagawin yan, kundi alagaan mo yung atletang yan. Diba? Take care of that athlete. Yun yung ililink natin between the NSA and the Philippine Sports Commission. Kasi sa NSA, nung nasa NSA ako, inaalagaan talaga namin yan. Di ba? Alam namin kung kamusta na yung bata, kamusta ang pag-aaral, naka-enroll ba? Kasi kinukuha mo yung atleta, 15 years old, 16 years old. Nag-enroll ba siya? Kung wala siyang ma-enrollan, hanapan mo ba siya ng scholarship? So, yun yung mga, buhay ng atleta ito eh. It is not just the training. It is his life. From the time he starts as a very young athlete to the time he wins a medal in the Olympics, buong buhay yan. Alagaan na natin yan. Di ba? So yun yung kailangang mindset natin, Gretch.
And gaano kadami yung magiging kabilang doon sa task force?
Definitely, raramihan natin yan. Kasi
ang dami po natin atleta. How do you monitor everything and everyone?
Right now kasi, bawat commissioner ng PSC takes care of X number of sports. So if there are 80, apat ang commissioners, parang 20 sports sila. Di ba? But that's the commissioner. Di ba? Commissioner Torres, Commissioner Bongco, Commissioner Haico, Commissioner Gaston. So, sila yung leader. Sila yung kumbaga ba tatay or nanay ng mga NSA. But ano yung organisasyon sa baba nila? Di ba? So meron kang kumbaga ba household, meron kang support staff.
So walang ganun ngayon?
Merong opisina. Opisina lang, NSA Affairs. Hindi ba? But that office, yan yung
And how many people are in that office?
Well, it's a very small office. So, ang importante rito, is don't wait for these NSAs and the athletes to go to your office. Tayo ang lumapit sa kanila, tayo ang magtanong sa kanila, ano kailangan nyo, kamusta? Di ba? Parang help desk concept. So we will do that. Definitely priority yan.
I think you also said in an interview that there will be a revamp of the board or commissioners. Are you going to do that?
No, actually, the commissioners, they're also appointed by Malacanang.
Okay.
Diba? And ako, ang management philosophy ko naman dyan is that I'm new. Let's not rock the boat. Help me. Do well. Perform. Work hard. And one team tayo. Now, if I see that maganda naman yung teamwork namin, we will
I
just
guess one
continue.
of the questions here also is how do you professionalize the processes? Because what you mentioned, yung aalagaan natin yung mga atleta, it's very personal, which is to some extent very good because naiisip mo yung welfare ng atleta, but also it could turn the other way. Kapag nagkatampuhan, hindi na ibibigay yung allowance o hindi na bibigyan ng pansin o hindi na isasama sa roster.
Correct.
Paano yung gano'n?
Alam mo, yan yung mga kwento na, for example, yung relationship between the coach and the national athletes, yung relationship ng PSC and the National Sports Association, kailangan professionalize the process. It cannot be, meaning yung personal na pangangalaga. Pero yung personal na, kung pati yung sweldo ng bata, nadidelay at wala kayong ginagawa, or yung sweldo ng bata, dumadaan pa sa prosesong napakahaba.
But how do you plan to professionalize the process?
Well, yung pag-professionalize niyan, unang-una nga, is patibayin mo yung relationship with the NSA. Number 2, patibayin mo yung NSA Affairs, yung National Sports Association Office
And have
ng
people
Philippines.
under it.
Yes. Talagang lagyan mo na ng organizational chart. Lagyan mo na ng mga taong talagang memorize mo. Pag sinabi kong sino ang mga atleta ng rowing, ay talagang gusto ko memorize mo. Where are they now? Where will they train? Bakit sila pupunta sa bansang ito para mag-training? Bakit sila sasali dyan? You know, the PSC for the longest time, ang pagkakaalam ng mga tao at pagkakaalam mo bilang atleta is that aalis ako, sana yung allowance ko.
Tagabigay ng pera.
Tagabigay ng
Wallet.
Pera. Hindi naman po ATM. Hindi naman po bangko ang PSC. Di ba? So, exactly.
Siguro ako, ito na yung pagkakataon para linawin. Ano po ba ang role talaga ng PSC? Alongside the POC?
Yeah. Unang-una, magkaiba po ang PSC at POC. Ang Philippine Olympic Committee, ang head niyan is the International Olympic Committee. Sila yung nagko-control kung sino pupunta sa Olympics. Sila ang nag-aalaga sa NSA. Now, you have a Philippine Sports Commission. The Philippine Sports Commission is the government agency tasked to assist yung welfare ng national athletes. Number 2, para alagaan yung facilities ng bayan. Di ba? Number 3, healthy citizenry. Yun ang nawawala eh.
The grassroots
The
development.
grassroots development and the healthy citizenry of the 110 million Filipinos, Gretchen. Hindi ang PSC, hindi lang po siya para sa atleta, sa kapakanan ng mamamayang Pilipino. Yun yung patitibayin rin natin. Kailangan healthy. Meaning, you, me, our friends here, kailangan alam nila na may palaro, may bagong facility na pwede ako mag-jogging. Merong track oval na pwede ako. May bagong
Siguro ang
football
katanungan,
field na
may
pwede ako.
pondo ba tayo po para sa lahat ng mga plano po ninyo?
Alam
Sa
mo,
nakikita po ninyo?
Alam mo, kaya ako excited because alam ko na nakafocus si President Marcos sa sports. Alam ko nakafocus si First Lady sa sports. Alam ko na even si Vinnie Marcos, who is a sportsman, an athlete, nakafocus sa sports. You know, when your president says, support the athletes, support Philippine sports.
Funds go that way.
Funds go that way. And ako po, nag-reach out na po ako sa chairman ng PAGCOR, kay Chairman Altenco. Kasi, di ba, alam natin na lumabas na po sa news na ang PAGCOR ay magdadagdag na ng pondo para sa Philippine Sports Commission. Diba? Kasi yan po yung nasa batas na...
Of course, with the
PAGCOR.
advent also of online gambling, right?
So,
It must
5%
go
po
somewhere.
yan. 5% of PAGCOR revenues goes to the Philippine Sports Commission.
How do we build on the success of recent victories? We have, of course, Alex Iala. We have Heidelin, Kaloy, EJ. It is a golden time in Philippine sports.
It is a golden
the best
time.
But how do we build on that and carry it on over to the next generation?
How do we build on that? Tignan mo ngayon yung dami ng naglalaro ng tennis. Then we have to spot them. We have to take care of them. Ilan ngayon ang nag-tour of Luzon tayo, sabi nga ng mga tao, traffic ngayon sa Quezon. Bakit? Ang dami nagbibisikleta papuntang Baguio. Because nag-tour of Luzon, nakita nila buhay na naman ang tour of Luzon. Ang daming nagtitennis, ang daming nagdi-gymnastics, ang daming nagwi-weightlifting. Grassroots development. And grassroots development in terms of tying up with the LGUs, with the mayors and the governors, and then schools, universities. You know, ang importante rito, I'll reach out to the UAP, NCAA, CESAFI, and all these school programs. And sabihin natin, hindi ba po tingnan nyo itong mga bata o bata pa sila, may sport na sila, but wala yung sport nila pagdating sa college. Bumabagsak ngayon. Di ba? Marami pa tayong sports, maski sa UAP, sa NCAA, and other programs, that wala
and
sa
one of those
competition.
is weightlifting.
Weightlifting, wala pa po. Wala pong golf.
But is the PSC working on that?
Yes,
I mean, how could that be done? That it would be included? Like, for example, pole vaulting also?
Wala, marami pang wala. Kaya yung continuity ng yung bata pa, hobby na niya at gusto niya maging atleta, nawawala pagdating niya sa college. Yan yung gap na kailangan nating punuan. And malaking bagay, makipagtulungan tayo sa mga UAAP, NCAA, CESAFI, diba? And all other competitions ng mga colleges. Yung relationship. Alam mo, Gretch, I think my role here as PSC chairman is to make sure I reach out, and talk to these stakeholders and say, paano namin matutulungan yung mga programa nyo so that merong continuity yung ginagawa nung little boy and little girl, nung bata pa sila, sa sport na gusto nila at hindi nagbabago pagdating ng college kasi yun lang yung available sport na papasukan nila. Di ba? You know, even if you look at the sports of athletes from schools, UAP and CAA, alam mo, more than 50-60% galing sa Visayas, Mindanao yan. And why are they here? It is because they want to study, because of education, because sports is a great enabler. Di ba? So ang importante, Maski yung sport na, kunyari, sipak takraw. It's a beautiful sport. Yes, it is not an Olympic sport. Pero under my chairmanship, patas po yan. Under my chairmanship, the Olympic sport, talagang pagtutuunan natin ng pansin. Pero yung mga sports na talagang marami rin ang naglalaro, daan-daang libong Pilipino rin ang naglalaro, they also need support. Why? Because it is the healthy citizenry concept. Di ba? I went to palarong pambansa in Ilocos last month sa Ilocos Norte. Thousands of young boys and girls playing sepak takraw. I watched it. I observed them. And when I asked them, bakit di ka nagbabasketball? Bakit hindi volleyball? Gusto po namin yung sepak takraw. Alam mo yung, for you to see them play a sport that is not popular, and yet para sa kanila,
It's natural.
it's natural. You know, you see them flying, di ba? Yung sepak takraw, lumilipad ka sa ere. Parang volleyball, pero you use your feet.
And how do you plan to promote that sport? I mean, institutionalize that sport?
Well, thank you for asking that because isa sa work program talaga na itataguyod natin yan bilang chairman. If you notice, wala tayong national championship per sport. Wala tayong national championship sa bawat sport wherein you represent your region and your province.
Hindi ba yung palaro yun?
That is the palaro per region for students for elementary and high school. Level up tayo. So that you have a national championship per sport na ang magko-control, magmamanage, ang mag-facilitate yung National Sports Association.
Ibig sabihin,
So then
kahit
you now
hindi ka
provide
estudyante,
then you provide the link. Yes.
Kahit hindi ka estudyante, maaaring makapaglaro ka.
Kunyari, if you're still playing volleyball, saan ang probinsya mo? If you are from Manila,
from Manila.
then you represent Manila. Kung kukunin ka ng Manila team. Then you bridge the gap between that palarong pambansa, Batang Pinoy.
Kumbaga parang you're offering two routes. Merong mga regional meet
No,
through
it's
the schools
Through the NSAs.
at merong NSA.
Yes. Because the NSAs now, palarong pambansa, the NSAs go there to check sino bang magaling na bata rito. Kukunin ko yan sa national team. Sino bang magaling na bata rito? Kukunin ko yan. Napuputol yun. Now, ituloy natin yun hanggang
You mentioned
dulo.
private-public partnership here. Which companies are you looking to tap
you know,
from the private sector?
You know, maraming kumpanya, maraming gustong tumulong sa sports. When they saw the news na Patrick Gregorio was appointed chairman of PSC, ang daming nagte-text sa akin, paano kami makakatulong? You know, so ang importante dyan, sinasabi ko nga is, paano po kayo makakatulong? Unang-una, gawin nating madali ang access at ang proseso sa donation. Pangalawa, gumawa po tayo ng sports foundation na nandoon lahat ng gustong tumulong. Meron po, alam ko po si Mr. Pangilinan may sariling sports foundation. I am sure San Miguel, sila Mr. Razon, at all the big companies, Ayala, they have. You know, there's this group, yung disaster, yung PDRF, nandun po lahat sila.
Pero
lahat ng
ito po ba
resources
ang
nila.
question ay dumidiretso sa atleta? O dadaan pa po yan sa NSA at sa POC?
Dapat po, parang adapt a sport, adapt an athlete, pero well-coordinated tayo
Sa NSA.
Sa NSA. Very important po sa akin ang role ng National Sports Association. And if I have to help them professionalize yung NSA nila, di ba? Kasi ang NSA po, you have a president and you have a secgen.
Pero minsan kasi nandun po yung problema sa disbursement within the NSA.
Because, Gretchen, the NSA, ang mga nagvo-volunteer dyan are the people who know the sport and may resources to support the sport. Pero, mga nagtatrabaho rin yan. They have jobs, they have other things to do. They're there because they love the sport. So, kung kaya po natin na yung president, of course, the president, the head of the NSA, may trabaho siya, sinusuportahan niya. Pero yung level sa baba, the Secretary General, the administrative officer, kung mabigyan natin sila ng suporta para ma-professionalize, para yung reporting nila tama sa pag-submit sa PSC, hindi na nagkakagulo yung mga sinasubmit nila.
Isa pa ho dyan, kailangan na yung auditing, Kasi kung marami pong perang ibinibigay, yung report po na pagbalik nun.
Kasi pag hindi mo sinubmit ng tama, hindi ka na makakakuha
Is the PSC in charge of that?
Yes,
auditing?
because we give the funds. Dapat sinasubmit nila yung paano nila ginastos.
Kasi yung iba ho hindi
paano
nagsasubmit.
Nila liniquid. Hindi nila sinasubmit. Pero sa akin kasi, I'm sure alam natin tong problemang to. Sometimes that responsibility of submitting, the responsibility of liquidating, kumisan nilalagay mo pa sa responsibilidad ng atleta. Hindi na dapat, di ba? Hindi na dapat. So, yun yung sinasabi ko. During my chairmanship, I will make sure na walang distraction ganyan yung atleta, walang distraction ganyan yung NSA. Yan, kaya kong ipangako yan kasi for more than 20 years, ang buhay ko nandun lang sa kabila, dun sa NSA. So ngayon na nandito tayo sa PSC, siguro naman kayang-kaya nating i-analyze na ngayon paano itutugma yun.
The institutional organization itself and how things work professionally. Seems you have your work cut out for you.
Yes.
And you have 3 years to do that. So,
yes, until
good luck po,
2020.
sir.
Thank you, Gretchen.
Sa inyong mandato. And sana po ay matulungan nyo talaga ng malaking-malaki ang mga atletang Pilipino na deserve po yan.
Isang pangako yan na hindi dapat mabali at hindi dapat mapako. So I'm here to serve the athletes and I'm here to improve Philippine sports because yan ang gustong mangyari ni President Marcos at gagawin po natin.
Wala pong bias sa UP,
Wala po, wala na. Promise yan.
Okay, thank you. We have a PSC Chairman, Patrick Gregorio, joining us today. And that wraps up today's episode of Morning Matters. We hope we've given you the right start to your morning. Let's go ahead and make the day matter. My name is Gretchen Ho. We are One News, all sides, all the time.